In 2021, researchers at the University of California, San Francisco, published the results of a study. They had tracked 7,959 people for 25 years, 2.5 decades of health data, sleep habits, cognitive tests, medical records. They were trying to understand whether sleep duration, recorded in your 50s and 60s, had any connection to dementia risk later in life. What they found was this: consistently sleeping fewer than 6 hours a night during midlife raised the risk of developing dementia by 30%. Not in a small preliminary study, not in a one-year snapshot, across a quarter century of real lives, the brain cleans itself during sleep. Miss enough of it consistently over years, and it stops doing that job properly. By the end of this video, you're going to understand what actually happens inside your brain during sleep and why it matters so much. You'll learn what the research says about how much sleep you actually need after 65, and why the common belief that you need less as you get older is simply wrong. And I'll give you 4 evidence-based improvements, each of them free, that consistently work in clinical settings. Let's start with the biology, because once you understand this, the numbers make a lot more sense. Inside your brain, there is a waste clearance system that most people have never heard of. Scientists discovered it relatively recently, around 2012. It's called the glymphatic system, and it is one of the most important biological discoveries in neuroscience in the last 2 decades. Here's how it works. During deep slow-wave sleep, the deepest stage of sleep, the cells in your brain actually shrink slightly, and as they shrink, channels open up between them. Cerebrospinal fluid flows through those channels, washing out metabolic waste that has accumulated during the day. Among the waste products cleared during this process, beta-amyloid plaques and tau proteins. These are the same substances that accumulate in the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease. Let that land for a moment. Your brain has a dedicated overnight cleaning cycle that specifically removes the proteins associated with Alzheimer's. And that cleaning cycle requires deep sleep to activate. When sleep is consistently short or chronically fragmented, interrupted repeatedly through the night, the glymphatic system doesn't have time to complete its work. The waste doesn't fully clear, and over years that accumulation compounds. This is the biological mechanism behind the UCSF finding. The 30% increase in dementia risk isn't a statistical accident. There's a plumbing system in your brain that depends on sleep to do its job. Now let's talk about how much sleep actually matters, because the answer is more nuanced than most people expect. Across the largest population studies on sleep and mortality, researchers consistently find what's called a U-shaped relationship. All-cause mortality is lowest in adults who sleep 7 to 8 hours per night, and it rises on both ends. Under 6 hours, risk rises. We've talked about that. But here's the part most people don't hear. Over 9 hours also carries elevated risk. Long sleep duration, consistently more than 9 hours, is associated with higher all-cause mortality in multiple large studies. The relationship is complicated and not fully understood. Long sleep is sometimes a symptom of underlying illness rather than a cause of poor outcomes. But the pattern is real and consistent. The sweet spot in the research is 7 to 8 hours, not 5, not 10, 7 to 8. Now, and this matters, there is an important distinction between sleep need and sleep quality. Here is a belief that is both extremely common and completely incorrect, that you need less sleep as you get older. That's not what the research shows. What changes with age is not how much sleep you need. It's how well you actually sleep. After 60, the proportion of time you spend in deep, slow-wave sleep decreases. Your sleep becomes more fragmented. You wake up more easily, for longer periods, more frequently. Your circadian rhythm shifts earlier, so you may feel sleepy at 8 p.m., but then wake up at 3 a.m. and can't get back down. The body still needs the same 7 to 8 hours it always did. It's just harder to get them. Before we get to the solutions, there's one thing I want to mention specifically for this audience, because it affects a significant number of adults over 60 and is almost never discussed in the context of sleep. Medications. Several commonly prescribed medications interfere with sleep in ways most patients are never told about. Beta blockers, used for blood pressure and heart conditions, suppress melatonin production. Melatonin is the hormone that regulates your sleep-wake cycle. Take a beta blocker, produce less melatonin. Diuretics, also common in blood pressure management, cause nighttime urination, which fragments sleep architecture. Over-the-counter antihistamines, including common sleep aids like Benadryl, can help you fall asleep initially but fragment the sleep architecture, reducing deep sleep. They also carry cognitive risks in older adults that are serious enough that the American Geriatric Society has them on its explicit avoid list. If you're on any of these medications and struggling with sleep, that conversation belongs with your doctor. Not everything can be changed, but some of it can, and knowing the connection is the first step. Now the 4 evidence-based improvements. These come from sleep medicine research specifically conducted in or applicable to adults over 60. 1. Consistent sleep and wake times, every day including weekends. This is consistently the most powerful single intervention in the sleep research. Your circadian rhythm is a biological clock. Every time you sleep in on the weekend or stay up significantly later than usual, you reset that clock, the same way changing time zones disrupts a traveler's sleep. Pick a wake time. Hold it, even on days when you slept poorly. Even on weekends. The consistency trains the system. 2. Keep your bedroom between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Core body temperature needs to drop slightly for sleep onset to occur and deep sleep to be maintained. A room that is too warm actively disrupts this process. This is especially true for older adults who often have less efficient thermoregulation. Cool room, heavier blanket if needed. The combination works better than either alone. 3. No screens in the 60 minutes before bed. Blue wavelength light from phones, tablets, televisions, and computers suppresses melatonin production directly. It signals to your brain that it is still daytime. And in older adults who already produce less melatonin than they did at 30, additional suppression has a meaningful effect. The replacement doesn't need to be dramatic. A book, a dim lamp, a conversation. The goal is simply to stop sending your brain the wrong signal at the wrong time. 4. Morning bright light within 30 minutes of waking. This one surprises people because it's a sleep intervention that happens in the morning. But light exposure in the early morning is the primary anchor for your circadian rhythm. It tells your brain exactly what time it is, which sets the clock for when you'll feel sleepy that night. 10 minutes outside in natural daylight, within 30 minutes of waking. On cloudy days, it still works. The light level outside, even overcast, is many times brighter than indoor lighting. This is free. It requires nothing. And it is one of the most evidence-supported circadian interventions in the literature. Sleep is not passive recovery. It is active maintenance. Your brain is running a cleaning cycle that requires deep, sufficient, consistent sleep to complete. And the consequences of shortcutting it are not subtle. You don't need a perfect night's sleep. You need a consistent, reasonable one. 7 to 8 hours, the same schedule every night, a cool, dark room, and mornings that start with light. That's the protocol. It's low-tech, it's free, and it has more research behind it than almost any supplement or sleep medication you could buy. The next video on this channel covers the specific supplements that have the strongest clinical evidence for improving sleep in adults over 60, including the one that works best for circadian rhythm issues specifically, and why the dose most products sell is almost certainly wrong. Worth watching if sleep has been an ongoing issue.